Now, sort of continuing on, I'm honored to have our next guest. So we have an invited speaker this year. I think it's the first time in 20 years that we've actually ever done that. I'm very excited about it because I think the speaker's story is going to sort of parallel and sort of reinforce a lot of what is important to Actuate Corporation, the people of Actuate Corporation inside and outside of Actuate, that being customers, shareholders, things of that nature. And the cool thing about this speaker is he is a true American hero in every sense of the word. So with that, why don't we roll the intro clip, please?
The U.S. Army Ranger, retired Navy SEAL, shot 8 times in the face only 2 weeks before he was scheduled to return home from Iraq.
Now heroes, and tonight the story of one Navy SEAL who refused to give up.
Jason Redman was shot 8 times in an Al-Qaeda ambush in 2007.
Jason posted a bright orange sign on the door of his hospital room. It read,
If you're coming into this room with sorrow or to feel sorry for my wounds, go elsewhere. The wounds I received, I got in a job I love, doing it for people I love, supporting the freedom of a country I deeply love.
And like thousands of others recovering in hospitals around the country, Jay struggled to find clothing that would fit over all of his medical devices. That's when the light bulb went on, and he found it wounded wear.
Nadine Redman's new mission back here in the States is to inspire civilians with his incredible story of survival.
He's the author of the book, The Trident.
And he's hoping to inspire others to overcome adversity.
I was told by several doctors I'd never bend my arm again, so never quit trying.
Jay works tirelessly to help heal the wounds of war.
Now that I've retired from the Navy, I have 2 new missions: to honor and support my fellow warriors and families of the fallen.
But he believes it's ultimately up to the American people to show these men and women their sacrifices are worth it.
What have you done for your country lately?
And to motivate and inspire my fellow Americans.
And today our police officers hung on his every word about overcoming adversity with teamwork.
Jason, thanks for being here, and thanks for your service to this country.
It's an amazing event. We purposely make it a festival atmosphere because what we're celebrating out here is life. It is the mindset of living greatly. Despite injury, despite loss, despite adversity, you can get out there and live greatly. And you can show the American people that you can get out there and you can overcome anything. How are we doing this morning? Stop. You guys sound like a group of people that stayed out of the bar till 2 a.m. I want to hear it again. Actuate, how are we doing this morning? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's the beginning of 2015. It's a whole new year. How many people set goals? How many people set their eyes on the prize at the end of the year that this is what I'm going to do? 2015 is going to be the year. How many? I want to see a show of hands. I'm going to tell you why 2015 is going to be your year. Because today I'm going to talk about the overcome mindset. I'm going to talk to you about how you are going to crush doubt. You are going to crush the naysayers. You're going to knock down those walls of adversity that are in your path. You're going to find that success. You're going to find those goals. And it's going to be amazing. 2015 is going to be the year that you're going to overcome within your family, within yourself, within this company, and professionally. That's what I'm all about, overcoming. It is what I have done for 21 years in a career as a SEAL, despite a little bit of arrogance at the beginning of my career that almost ended, despite severe injuries on the battlefield, over 4 years of surgeries, coming back and saying, I will not let it stop me. It is that overcome mindset that enables that. All right, who's ready for the big game tonight? How many Ohio State fans do we have in here? You know, not that many. I'm a little disappointed. How many Oregon fans we got in here? All right, all right. It's going to be a good game tonight. I'm excited. I'm originally from Ohio, so I am definitely a Buckeye fan. So, my fellow Buckeye fans, we will band together and hold strong against the Oregon infrastructure here. So, All right, so today we're going to talk about several different things. The biggest thing is I'm going to take you on a journey. A journey that you guys are going to go with me. It's going to be pretty exciting. I think you're going to enjoy it. Anthony Robbins likes to take people and have them walk over fire. So I thought about doing that, but I thought it was kind of overplayed. You know, that whole walking on fire thing, it gets old. It gets old. I know you guys probably all do it in your spare time. So today what we're going to do is a visualization exercise. This morning, I want you to push through your hangovers. I want you to visualize with me. Because starting this morning, right now, you guys are all special operations commandos. You guys have been through at least 10 years of intense training in land warfare, driving tactics, years of shooting, hostage rescue, and assault operations. For this very mission that you've been tasked to conduct today, you've been training with your team for the last 4 months, and this has been your only focus. We've launched on the mission. All of us have been split up into our assault teams, and we're flying along on the helicopter. And you're sitting inside there, you've got your body armor on, you've got your helmet, you've got your kit, and you're surrounded by your assault team. It's been at least a 4 or 5 hour flight, and you're cramped up in there, and you're playing through the scenario. You're playing through the plan. You've been tasked to go after the #1 terrorist in the entire world over the past 10 years. It is the mission of your career. It is the mission of a lifetime. And as you sit there playing these thoughts out, you're waiting for the refueling to occur on the helicopter as you get ready to go over the border into those foreign countries, into enemy territory. Word comes out, 10 minutes out. You're playing these things through your mind, through those different positions that you're going to run. 5 minutes out, 2 minutes out, 1 minute. As you're coming in, your assault team's been tasked to land in the courtyard, and you're going to take down the building from that ground floor. As that helicopter comes in, all of a sudden the pilot comes across the radio, and on your headset you hear, we're going in, stand by for impact, brace, bam, and you just crashed. The dust clears, the smoke, and you do that thing that all of us have ever done when we've taken that hard fall. Remember when you were a kid, you skateboarded, biked, or you just fell down, and you did that head-to-toe check. You're kind of like, okay, I think I'm hurt, but I'm not really sure. Okay, no, I'm good. Check the rest of your team. You're ready to go. You realize that there's still a mission at hand. Despite what just happened, despite that helicopter crash, you got to go out there and you still got to affect that mission. So you do it. You step out and you start flowing into that target. Every one of you are with me. Who's with me right now? Who's got my back? All right. So we make that entry, and as you get up to that door, you see that there's a hardened metal structure, reinforced, and there's no way you're going to make that entry. So we call up our breacher. He assesses it. He plants his charge. Everybody swings back, and boom, we blow that door off the hinges, and you just made entry into the unknown. Into that door where you may not know what's on the other side. You're stepping into the great unknown, not knowing if that may be the last door you ever step through. And you're hearing the gunfire going off around you, but you're focused on that sole target. You're focused on that mission of your lifetime, the mission that you've been preparing for your whole career. And as you move down the hallway and you turn the corner, you've got a flight of stairs ahead of you. Check your back. You see that all of you are behind me, my assault team, and we move up that stairwell to the last door at the top of the stairwell. The squeeze is given to go, and you make entry into the room. And then standing in front of you is the #1 most wanted terrorist in the world since Adolf Hitler. And we did it. You guys all did it. You helped accomplish that mission. You guys just contributed to one of the greatest missions in the history of the United States. So I want to congratulate you. Who all was with me? These are all. So I want to give you an award on behalf of a grateful nation. Well, I want to thank you very much. Please pass out your awards. Every one of you was on that doorwell. You were visualizing in your mind. Who in here took the shot? Right here? You took the shot? Heck yeah, you just said you did. I want a selfie with the guy that shot bin Laden. Oh, hang on, stand by, and you got a career on Fox News, my friend. So, and you get an official J. Redman Overcome patch as a reward. So, you know, you'll be one of many. Every time we turn around, we got another guy coming out saying he shot bin Laden, so you'll have no problem fitting right in. So, you know, the funny thing is there's hundreds of military units across the Department of Defense. All of them are great and capable units. But what makes elite performers? Do you think President Obama, when he heard that we possibly had the location of the most wanted terrorist in the last 50 years, that he pulled out his little DOD yellow pages and started flipping through? You know, maybe he looked up, you know, terrorist leader takedown. Let me flick through. Okay, I've got about 50 units. I don't think so. I don't think so. Over 50 years went into the bin Laden raid of preparation. 50 to almost 60 years from the culmination of the beginning of the SEAL teams. Building our strong combat reputation. Tens of thousands of tremendously well-executed combat missions led up to that moment, led up to that reputation as an elite performer, which caused the President and the Department of Defense to say, we're going to utilize SEAL teams to conduct this mission. Elite performers build themselves over time. Training, investing in their people, honing their craft so their flawless reputation spreads. Does Actuate have this? Absolutely you do. I did the research. Your company has this. You guys are elite performers in your field. The 20 years since its formation, you guys have achieved this. Almost everyone in this room has helped build it. Am I right? Yeah. That's right. You've built it into what it is today. Company with annual revenues over $130 million, sought out for your visualization and analytics on a global stage. What made Actuate into the company it is today? How'd you achieve this elite status? I can't answer that question because I haven't been with your company. Only you guys can answer that. But I can tell you this. I can tell you how the SEAL teams achieved their elite status. I can tell you how they got to their level of elite performance. Many things go into elite performance and elite status. Training, selection, at times even a little bit of luck. But I believe that there are 5 key factors that an organization has that drives elite performance. And for the SEAL teams, those 5 things: teamwork, leadership, a clearly defined mission, the overcome mindset, and the last one is to prepare for the unexpected. Those 5 things, if they're focused on relentlessly, lead to an elite level of performance. So the first of these principles we're going to talk about is teamwork. From day one of SEAL training, everything about your training is built around teamwork. Every man is held responsible for everything that we do. And it begins with the small boat that you're assigned as you go through training, to the log you have to carry around and do log PT with. Everything is built around the team. From day one, you were taught you will succeed or you will fail based on your teamwork. Fast forward 15 years into my career. September 12, 2007. Similar to the bin Laden raid, my team was tasked with a very high level, the #1 al-Qaeda leader in the Anbar province of Iraq, to go and conduct a mission. We had prepared, we had trained, we had already conducted over 80 missions on that deployment. We were expecting very heavy resistance. We were expecting suicide bombers. We were expecting really the worst going into that situation. I was tasked as the assault team leader for the primary target. We had an additional assault team that was providing the external security to take down that target. As we went into that target and I made that entry, nothing happened. What a letdown, huh? The place was empty. So we started, but that often happens on the battlefield, preparing for the unexpected. But as we started looking around, our snipers had been placed in their external security positions. They started saying, you've got a lot of movement on another building about 100 yards away. We came up with an alternate plan, and I took my team and we moved on that building. And as we moved on it, the security detail for that high-level al-Qaeda leader had set up a pre-staged ambush situation. And my team and I walked directly into it. It went from calm, quiet, we controlled the situation, to total chaos. We walked into multiple machine gun positions, multiple small arms, rocket-propelled grenades. I immediately was stitched across the body by a machine gun, taking at least 7 rounds in the body armor. I took 2 rounds in my left elbow. I tried to continue to coordinate that firefight until I stood up and tried to move back to the one point of cover when I took a round directly in front of my ear that traveled through my face, taking off my nose, right cheekbone, vaporizing my orbital floor, shattering all the bones above my eye, and shattering my jaw and knocking me out. My teammates thought I was dead. And they could have just focused on themselves and trying to get out of that situation. But they didn't. Because everything that we had done throughout the SEAL teams, throughout our time in that platoon, task unit, assault team, had been built around teamwork, around loyalty to our teammates. Unshakable loyalty at all times, in all situations. So they commenced to win that fight. One of my teammates managed to run forward, get a hold of me, and drag me back where I came to, and we managed to finish coordinating and, with the help of the United States Air Force, get out of that firefight. So teamwork is the essential element that can overcome almost any situation. Pete might have started and built Actuate into what it is, but every one of you in this room contributed to that as part of a team. All right, so here's our next practical application when it comes to teamwork. I need everybody to take out your cell phone. We're all going to work as a team. Okay, come on. Take out your cell phone. All right, who's on Twitter and Facebook? Okay, so on Twitter, go to Jason Redman, W, and press follow. And on Facebook, go to Jason Redman and press like. And the first one that does both, raise your hand. We're working as a team right now. I gave you a very clearly defined objective. My objective, of course, to raise awareness of who I am and what I'm doing and to try and encourage all of you. Also teach you about teamwork, and here we are working at teamwork. I try and put things on there about motivation, inspiration. I try and put things on there about the overcome mindset. I write a weekly blog about leadership, overcoming adversity, all kinds of different things. So, anybody make it? Who's got it? All right, I saw your... So, for you, my friend, I have a, because, nobody likes reading anymore, so, and I didn't write a pop-up book, so I have an signed audio version of the Trident, my book for you. So, yeah, absolutely, thank you. So, oh yeah, selfie.
Ready? The selfie of the selfie?
Selfie of the selfie. This is fantastic. It's the double selfie. Man, that's teamwork at its best. All right, so what's the next thing? Leadership. You could have a great team, but you always need good leaders. But one of the critical elements of the SEAL teams teach is that everyone is a leader. We have to. It's absolutely critical to what we're doing. From day one of SEAL training, we teach leadership by example in everything you do. It's not so much that you tell somebody they need to do this. It's more so that we expect every leader to get out there and set the example for the people they lead. SEAL training is one of the very few blocks of training in the entire United States military where our officers, our leaders, go through the very arduous SEAL training side by side with enlisted members. The attrition rate for SEAL training is over 75%. My class started with 148. We graduated 19 originals. So you definitely learn how to forge teams and leadership as you go through this blocks of training. One of the big things we teach that's so critical in any organization, and it's one of the tenets of the SEAL teams, is in the absence of leadership, I will step up and lead. All of us are leaders, everyone in this room. It's something that we have to teach. It's something that we have to build upon because every one of you contribute to mission success, the mission success of Actuate, the mission success of yourself and your own life. So everybody has to step up and be a leader. Recognizing that not every person is in a position to call all the shots, but that they have valid ideas. And at any moment, you could find yourself in a leadership position. We do this drill constantly throughout SEAL training. As we go through different blocks of training, as we go through the training that all you guys went through. Remember when you were going through the driving training, the assault training, the shooting, because everyone in here is now a Special Operations Commando? This is a badass room. The bottom line is this: as we go through that training, there are times when the instructor cadre will step in and they'll tell the leadership, you're no longer allowed to speak. You're no longer allowed to make decisions. Could you imagine if one day I went up to Pete, I went up to your chief financial officer, I apologize, I forgot your name, but CFO sounds amazing. And I came up to you and I said, okay, you guys are no longer allowed to speak this week. You're no longer allowed to provide any guidance. You would have to step up and make those decisions. You would have to step up and lead. And that's what forges a stronger team. That's what forges those stronger bonds within the organization. Everybody understanding that at any one time they can be a leader. And that's what leads to elite performance, and that's what makes SEAL teams successful. One of the other things is selfless leadership. We teach that it's not about you. It's got to be about the organization, but you have to take care of your people. And you got to find that balance between mission and people. One of the best leaders I ever worked for was a man by the name of Vince Peterson. I write a lot about Vince in my book because he was such an amazing mentor to me. Vince was probably one of the most amazing special operations leaders that I've ever seen. And not his real name, but if people knew who he was in the community, they would instantly say, one of the best leaders I ever worked for. I have a quote about Vince. I'd say, Vince Peterson is such a great leader, I'd follow him into hell in a propane truck. Yeah, you guys definitely drank too much last night. You're like, propane truck, oh, now boom, right. Vince was a Marine, then he decided to become a SEAL. He worked in the Navy for years, though, before he actually made that decision. He was 36 years old. How many people do I have that are 36 years old right now? Not me. A few? Pete! So Vince went through SEAL training at 36 years old. The average age of a guy going through SEAL training is about 24. Not only did he go through it, he crushed it. He went on to set the example in all the things that he did throughout training. And then one day, he had a skydiving accident with an incredibly bad landing, smashed his leg, and had his leg amputated from the knee down. Effectively should have ended his career. It was very early before prosthetic technology is what it is today, which he later went on to develop many of the prosthetics and that so many of our wounded warriors are wearing today. But instead of getting out, Vince decided that he would stay. He proved that he could do the things that he needed to do, and he continued to set the example. When he became my commanding officer, you had no excuse not to be out there doing physical training. Because at that time, this 58-year-old man with one leg was out there running, swimming, doing obstacle courses, and setting the example. Leadership by example, selfless leadership. Vince cared for the mission and his men. The other amazing story about Vince is one time he was off in Afghanistan, and he was in civilian attire. He had a beard, but he was at a very senior level at this point in his career. He landed on this outpost right on the Afghanistan-Pakistan border, and there were some young Rangers in a machine gun overwatch position up on the outcrop above where the helo landing pad was, where he had come in. And of course, all the leadership of this camp was standing there to receive him and talk to him. And you know, Vince basically said, okay, is everything good? Do you have what you need? And they all said, yes, yes. And he said, okay, I'm going to go talk to the guys. I'm going to go talk to the boys, the sled dogs, the ones who are carrying the weight, who are carrying the load. And he walked up the hill to that machine gun nest to these young Rangers. They didn't know who Vince was from Adam. At this point, he's an older guy. He's probably in his early 60s. He's got a white beard. They were probably wondering, man, why is Santa Claus here in Afghanistan in November? And why does he have kit on? You know, why does he have gear on? He started engaging them in conversation, trying to find out what was going on. And one of the young Rangers finally said, you know what, I've been asking for a resupply for the last 3 months, and I haven't been able to get one. He lifted up his foot, and his boot was falling apart. He said, I've been riggers taping my boot together for 2 months. He's like, it's the only boots I have left. He's like, you know, every day I'm trying to riggers tape my boot. I go running around. If we get in a firefight, it typically falls apart. I've cut my feet. He said, I don't know why we can't get a resupply for a new pair of boots. Vince looked at the kid and said, well, what size boot do you wear? The kid said, I wear a size 11. And Vince said, oh, okay. Stoops down, takes off his boot, off his prosthetic leg, mind you, and hands it to this kid, turns around and walks down the mountain, you know. Kid never knew who Vince was, never knew that Vince's foot wasn't going to get cold or cut. But it created a legend within the community. Selfless leadership, leadership by example. What type of leader do you want to be? Do you want to be the leader that people follow you because they have to? Or do you want to be the leader because people follow you because they want to? Vince Peterson had that dynamic leadership. The third principle of the 5, a very clearly defined mission. Understanding of the mission from the very top, Pete at the head of Actuate, all the way to the bottom. That lowest level person, that person that just stepped into the organization, from day one, they understand what is the end state. What are we trying to accomplish as an organization? The SEAL teams articulate this from day one. From day one of BUDS, you know, it is your job to be an elite maritime special operations commando. As you get to your first team and you go out and you conduct missions, those missions are very clearly defined. This is what we're trying to do. This mission that we all went on together, pretty fantastic. I feel closer to you than so many people in a long time. That mission that we went on together, it had an end state. And that end state was to take out that number one leader. Despite everything that was going on around us, despite a helicopter crash, despite gunfire that might have been occurring around us, despite the chaos of stepping up to a doorway and not being able to get into it because of massive levels of barricades, the end state was to get there and capture or neutralize a very dangerous and violent terrorist leader. That's what makes a difference. Every organization has to clearly define that mission so that you have the ability to say, what I am doing in this organization or part of this team is contributing to that end state. It's contributing to that mission's success. So if you are a leader within the organization and you can't answer that question, what is the end state of what we're trying to accomplish as a team? How does it play into the end state, that mission, that clearly defined mission for the organization? Or you as a lower ranking person in the organization, if you can't clearly articulate this is what we're trying to achieve, there's a problem. And that needs to be lined out. Because elite performers know exactly where they're going. I guarantee your NFL teams, your high-level college teams, Oregon and Ohio State, both of them are going in this game tonight, and their goal is to win this game. They're not going into it to be second place. And those goals vary within the field, within your receiving elements, within your linemen. All of them have very clearly defined, this is our mission tonight. That's what enables success. Actuate's mission is to create this open text software for the organizations that are out there and do it better than anyone else. The SEAL team's mission, it was to capture and neutralize those terrorist leaders. We live in an age where everyone's having to do more with less. So along with that clearly defined mission, it's understanding how can we be force multipliers within our organization. SEAL teams and special operations have been built on this principle. Small, fast, flexible units achieving results much larger than the footprint that they leave. We have to be a huge force multiplier. During Desert Storm on February 13th, 1991, we were poised, the United States and the coalition forces were poised to invade Iraq because of their invasion of Kuwait. As they were planning and they were maneuvering all their elements and they're getting ready for, in the military, what we call H-hour, hit hour, the hour that you're actually going to commence the assault. They were watching the battalions of Iraqi troops as they positioned, and they could see that they were expecting a land-based operation, which is actually what we were getting ready to commence. So the leadership decided that they were going to create a feint. They were going to create a fake invasion. So they tasked one platoon of SEALs, 14 men. And those 14 men went down to the south of Iraq and swam in on the beach and planted explosives all along the beach connected to timers. And then they took their patrol boats, and exactly at a couple hours before H-hour, they drove up and down the beach, started firing and blowing up all these explosives on the timers. A whole Iraqi division, 20,000 troops, broke off and headed down to the coastline because they were convinced that the coalition forces were going to come in by sea. It never happened. 14 men managed to drive away 20,000. I'd call that force multiplication. Mission process, how do we do more with less? Enables greatness. The fourth one I want to talk about, and I believe is the most important, is the one I spoke of in the beginning, and that is the overcome mindset. And the secret to the overcome mindset is relatively simple. Are you ready for this? Don't quit. It's amazing how simple it is. In life, people start to encounter hardship, they encounter problems, you encounter things that go wrong, that adversity, and so many people say, this isn't worth it. Why don't we go another way? But you know what? Success is found by those individuals that continue to drive forward through those hard moments. They drive forward. They have that overcome mindset. The greatest individuals that have had success in this world, I guarantee they've had hard times. Look at Abe Lincoln. He failed? I think he didn't get elected at least 3 times before he stepped up and moved on onto the political scene. He easily could have said, okay, I'm not cut out for this. You have to have that overcome mindset. You have to recognize that in life it's going to be hard. Things are going to go wrong. Things aren't going to go according to plan. And I'd be lying if I told you that as a Navy SEAL, I never questioned myself. That's not true. I had doubts. SEALs are human. I'm human. I had hard days. I had days I contemplated, do I continue to do this? But I recognize once again that you can make a difference by driving forward and never quitting. That is the essence of success. It can enable great success to have that overcome mindset that regardless of what's going on around you, you will not stop driving forward. You squash those negative thoughts and you move on. You continue to put one foot in front of the other. It doesn't mean you're going to have instant success. You just got to be willing to stay that course. You'll find success later. In the SEAL teams, we utilize breachers. They're a group of individuals who are tasked, we talked about in the very beginning. When we had the barricade, our breachers are the guys that will get through those barricades. They'll get through those walls. And they'll do it by using mechanical tools such as sledgehammers and who likes to break stuff? Congratulations. You guys all would be great breachers. Yeah, the breachers will have to smash through things, cut through things. They learn all about demolitions, because if they need to, they can utilize demolitions to blow through things like they did on the Bin Laden raid. You know, one of the funny things about breachers, though, is really how they do things has translated over into everything we do in the SEAL teams. It is this overcome mindset, is the idea that regardless of any door or wall or obstacle in my path, I will get through it. And that is the essence of the overcome mindset. Every one of you needs to be a breacher in your own life. So as you come across these obstacles, you drive through them. You figure out a way to either go over them, around them, or directly through them. It is that never quit mentality. So aside from the overcome mindset, the last thing I want to talk about that makes for elite performers, that fifth thing, is prepare for the unexpected. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. You may not realize this, but life's not fair. Who knew? Life's not some yellow brick road that we go skipping down into the sunset. Life is hard. Things don't go according to plan. And a lot of people out there put a lot of time and effort into working these plans, and when they go sideways, they fall apart. Sometimes those things go totally wrong. Sometimes your helicopter crashes in the courtyard before you even get on target. Well, you got to adapt. You got to overcome. You got to focus on that mission. You got to step up and lead, and you got to think about the team around you. SEAL training does a phenomenal job of teaching this lesson from day one. That 75% attrition rate, part of it comes from all the hard physical training you go through. It comes from having to swim in the very cold Pacific Ocean and do something really crazy called surf torture. But I tell you, the number one thing that drives guys out of SEAL training is a mental thing. And it is the fundamental principle that life isn't fair. And the way they teach this is with something very simple. You do all these different evolutions in SEAL training. One of them is a room inspection. Once a week, you get your room inspected. And it's very methodical in how they do it. Everything, you know, your bed has to be folded perfect, and your uniforms have to be hung up perfectly in the closet, and everything has a specific place and location. And the instructors come into your room, and Mr. Clean himself could have blessed this room off as the cleanest room in the history of the planet Earth. And you will fail. Why? Because life's not fair. And they're trying to teach you that lesson, that no matter how well you prepare, no matter how well you lay out a plan for the future, oftentimes it will not go the way you expected. And they want to see how you handle that. Oftentimes they'll give you timelines in training, and even though you actually make them, you look at your watch, they say you got a minute and you make it in 45 seconds, you will fail. Why? That fundamental principle. Things don't always go according to plan. What do you do with that? Why do they do that? Is that cruel? It's not cruel. It builds a mindset. It builds this overcome mindset that says, it doesn't matter anything that's going to occur in my life, I'm going to overcome it. I'm going to figure out a way past it. I'm going to figure out how to do it better next time, and then accept the fact, okay, I may never pass this room inspection, but I'm never going to stop trying, and that's what they're looking for. And it's no different with everything you do in your life. That's what leads to elite performers. My plan was to be a SEAL team commanding officer. Obviously, that night that I got all shot up kind of changed that plan. Is that fair? Doesn't really matter. Life's not fair. The real question is, what are you going to do with it? You know? You can't plan for every possible scenario that's going to happen, because the reality is you'll never be able to imagine every possible scenario. You're going to be slapped out of left field with something that's going to happen that you never thought of. And when that happens, what are you going to do? Are you going to lay down and cry? Are you going to point fingers and look for the scapegoat in your organization that you can throw under the bus. If you're an effective member of a team, you're not. You're going to look at the ways to move through it. You're going to look at how to focus back on what that end state is. And you're going to look to the future and figure out how you can do things. Because you understand that the mission and failure is never an option. All built around that overcome mindset. Now, I have a saying, regardless of the overwhelming odds or opposition in your path, you always have the opportunity to overcome. It is your attitude that will determine the outcome. So, I'm willing to bet every one of you here will encounter something in your lifetime unexpected, some catastrophic event, something you didn't plan for. But just remember, when those things happen, they don't control you. It is the overcome mindset with a positive attitude that's going to shape your future. Okay, who can give me a quick summary of those 5 principles that I just laid out that lead to elite performance, that lead to elite success? Yes, sir, right there. Yeah, come on, tell me. I'm going to come over here so they can hear you.
Teamwork, leadership, a clearly defined mission, an overcome mindset, and you got to prepare for the unexpected.
I like it. So, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So a signed copy of my new paperback. That's right. Those 5 things. They're relatively simple, but it takes focus to bring them together. So I'm going to close today with one final bit of advice. Today I've talked to you about what makes elite performers. I'm going to talk to you about how I now have tried to structure my life. 40 years on this planet, 21 years in the military, I encountered a lot of adversity. So these are now the 6 tenets that I try and live by. So I've told you what to do to be an elite performer as a business. I'm going to offer you some advice on how to live your life. The first one, to overcome. Second one is to live greatly. Third one, in this lifetime, you have to love deeply. You have to stay humble. You have to lead always. You have to live a life with no regrets. We've kind of beat this first one into the ground, but I think there's never enough time to talk about it. I believe everything in life is built upon that overcome mindset. If you're not willing to step up and crush adversity whenever it crosses your path, you've got to have that mindset. Because with that mindset, you can do anything. You can accomplish any kind of greatness there is as long as you're willing to continue driving forward. It's what enables success in any organization. Second one, you got to live greatly. Life is short. It can be gone in the blink of an eye. I got an email this morning that a young SEAL was killed in training yesterday. We train hard. Life is short. What are you going to do with every day you're given? Every day is an opportunity to do something great. How many of you have had dreams to do something and you haven't done it because you're in your comfort zone? Yeah, I'm scared that maybe I won't have the money. I'm scared that maybe I won't achieve success. You got to get out there and do it. Because if you don't do it today, you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to look back and you're going to wish you had. You have to live greatly for every moment. You have to get out there and climb a mountain. You got to jump from a perfectly good airplane. Who's going skydiving with me? All right. These are the things that enable you to know that you're still alive as you walk this earth. Because you never know when that day is coming. You got to love deeply. As I lay there bleeding out on the battlefield that night, I didn't think about how I wished I had shot more or studied more tactics or spent more time in the team room or done all these different things. In those final moments as my world was blacking out, I thought of my wife and kids. And I thought how I would have given just anything for one more minute to tell them that I love them. So you got to take advantage of the time that you have to build those friendships, to build those relationships, to take care of your friends and family. Because the only thing you're going to have left in the end is the relationships you forged and sustained in this life. You got to stay humble. Vince Peterson was one of the greatest examples of this. I almost ended my career over my arrogance, and you can read all about that in the book. And I finally had to humble myself and come to understand what it is to be a great leader. One of the byproducts of that whole process was I was sent to Ranger School as punishment. And I needed it, and it actually was something that forged me into a much better leader. But it was in that moment I came to understand what it is to be a humble servant leader. Pride has destroyed more men and women than all wars combined. You got to lead always. We need more leaders across this nation. There's a lot of people out there that they talk a lot. You know, I love Facebook, Twitter, and all this social media. There's more people on there with an opinion than there are stars in the sky. And it makes me wonder, what are you really doing? You know, you voice your opinion, you spew this negativity, but what are you really doing to get out there and make a difference? Step up and be a leader. Be a leader within your family. Be a leader within your community. Be a leader within your business. We need more leaders. And if you decide you're going to be a leader, then lead always in everything that you do, not just when somebody's watching. Be a great leader at all times. The last one, live a life with no regrets. You know, it's an amazing life that we live in, amazing world that we live in. You're faced with decisions every single day. Do I go right? Do I go left? What do I do? Do I take the red pill or the blue pill? Every decision you make has long-term impact and consequences. Think through them. Think how they will affect the team. Think how they will affect your perception as a leader. Think how they will affect that end state and mission success. Are you utilizing the overcome mindset to go through those decisions? And have you given a little thought on how you're going to handle that unexpected? I believe if you live your life in this manner, that when your time comes, and it will come for all of us, guaranteed, you can go knowing you had no regrets. So, all right, I got one last thing, and then I'll get off here. I'm a couple minutes over. So, who feels like they live their life in this manner? Who wants to live their life in this manner? I need one guy. I already gave you one. You're out of luck. You got yours. So, I've got the highly coveted, world-famous J. Redman Keep Calm and Overcome t-shirt. And on the back, you have the 6 tenets. So I have one for men. So where's my... I don't think I have. You know, we have some big sizes, but I don't know if I have one. I could get one made for you, Austin. So, and then one for women. All right. I'm Jason Redman, a very humble man, forged and reforged by the fires of adversity. I've enjoyed being here. Actuate, this is going to be an amazing year for you. You guys are going to take these tools and make a difference, not only in this company as it moves forward, but in your own lives. Remember those goals we talked about at the beginning? Where's everybody that said I set those goals? 2015, it's going to be the year you're going to overcome. I want to hear it. 1, 2, 3, overcome. 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you.